Alright, this is a topic I've actually been wanting to explore for a bit, and after seeing some recent discussion about this character, because it never really dies down, I decided people are really mean to this design, and I don't think they really fully, I don't not understand. I don't think they accept or look for what they were trying to do, right? This design, in relation to this design, is Kai'Sa from the hit indie game League of Legends by Riot Games Studios LLC. They make a lot of characters. They make a lot of characters consistently. They add new champions all the time. They rework old champions and redesign them. And they do a lot of characters. And not all of them are great, not all of them are loved. And Kai'Sa is one that people really dislike. Most people typically like the newer ones as well, design standpoint. But Kai'Sa was never really popular. And that's because of some issues with her design that people saw. So this is Kai'Sa. We can see, this is her in-game model, so this is kind of a bad way of looking at her, because in-game models aren't really the best form of looking at the character, because it's a top-down MOBA. But the idea is right here. It is a void-based ADC. ADC is just a fancy word for your ranged characters, characters that use ranged attacks mostly. Not spells for your ranged attacks, but like physical damage. AD is attack damage, as opposed to AP, which is ability power. So this is your marksman. If they were in a different world, they'd probably be using a gun, like Jhin or Caitlyn, right? But they are void-based, so they're a little different than some of the other characters in this game, but there are other void people in the game. Now, the void is the League of Legends universe, kind of like a final boss, kind of like universal entropy kind of situation. If the void takes over, the world of Runeterra is completely fucked, and everybody dies, and the world is corrupted by this evil expansion that serves no purpose except to consume, pretty much. That's why they call it the Void. So this is a strange champion for the Void, because all the other champions are like Vel'Koz, who's a big tentacle monster with, oh my god, okay, not a great opener. Giant Eyeball, he's a big creature. Cho'Gath, big scary monster. Kha'Zix, scary bug guy, right? Rek'Sai, she's a scary land shark kind of creature. All the Void champions are creatures, right? They're all these abominations, as Kai'Sa would put it. And I suppose most people would put it in the Runeterra world, of course. But they're all these La Criaturas, of course. So Kai'Sa is different because Kai'Sa was a young girl from Shurima, which is the, let's say, Egypt of this world. She was a young girl from Shurima who fell into the void. You can do that. So Malzahar, who is a void cultist, opens up a rift to the void. Kai'Sa falls in at a very young age, and she has to either die or adapt. And clearly, since we have the champion of her, she has chosen to adapt. Kai'Sa is a very strange character, because she's half human, half void. And she ended up looking like this. This is her splash art. She's here in the void, can roll void creatures. Her outfit is a living symbiote. She's kind of like a parasite character. The trope where a character has a parasite or a symbiote that helps them and gives them power. Think every character in Skullgirls almost. Think Venom. Think but you know, it's that trope, and I actually really like that trope. It's cool. And right here we can see she's obviously a human, and everything else about her is very void, and it fits the void aesthetic. There's no arguing that yes, she's a person, and yes, her outfit fits the void aesthetic. Do these things clash though? Yeah, no, they do, but is that intentional? I think so, yeah, obviously, right? That's the idea. She's here, she's got these big shoulder things, she's got these weird like crystal blasters, she's got these weird opening like things on her thigh there. It's like very strange, very bug-like, because, you know, that's a very Void thing to do, like weird fucked up bugs. Very creepy, and that's talked about in her character story a lot. The symbiote that's on her skin is explained to have like a cat's tongue effect on her. So it grips onto her, like, and it feels like a cat's tongue, and that's ew, yucky. That's how they talk about how the suit is on her. So, you know, it's been on her for so long, she doesn't really care anymore, which is just so strong and so cool. Anyway, people hate this design. They think this is a terrible design, and I mean, it's not the worst in League of Legends, right? I see what people mean. It's like, oh, she fell into the Void at a young age, one of the harshest places in all of League of Legends lore, if not the worst possible place to live in. It's very close to the worst. She has lived here since she was a child, and she looks like a supermodel, right? She looks really sexy. She's got this V-neck, right? She's got this like pretty face. She's got this makeup on. Her hair is done very nicely. It's like, why? That looks really weird, right? And yeah, it does. And yeah, they could have done better, and it's in the concept art that she didn't always look like this, and that's a big reason why people dislike this design, I think, is because of what it could have been. This kind of feels like robbery in a sense, and I don't inherently disagree. I'm not here to say this is one of the sleeper best designs. I'm here to say that this isn't really that bad. There's a lot worse designs in League of Legends, and I think people misunderstand Kai'Sa and what they were going for. Because at face value, people think, oh, well, what's gonna sell more? A weird monster girl or a hot supermodel? It's like, well, obviously one's going to be a little more acceptable, and I blame Tencent for that one, the company that owns Riot. Riot still tried to add a lot of characterization that just didn't really go in there, and there is some in the final design here, but there is some that just couldn't make in, and it's so annoying. So let's briefly talk about the concept art. This is the first kind of concept art, right? It started off not even as Void, they just wanted to make an ADC, right? So the first two are kind of, they say Purifier, like Lucian, and then fell into the darkness and became one of the monsters that was hunted. And they kind of thought, oh, we can make this Void-based, right? We can make this a little cooler. So Design 3, I think they could have added this into the game and said, fuck it, that's it, because that's really cool, and it looks sick, right? Design 4 is a little IMO, kind of a downgrade of Design 3, but you know, they changed, and they came with more of this design. All of these are really cool. They're leaning into the Void armor a lot more with the big rifle. They kept the rifle from Design 3, they like the sharp angular Void design from the Design 3 from there, and they expanded on that, and I think that was a good idea. It has the really big shoulder pads like Samus with the like heavy armor, but still keeping the feminine shape, so you know this is a girl, because that's important, I guess. But she's got this really cool gun arm, a lot like Samus too. But I think they looked at this and they said, this is too much like Samus. Big shoulder pad, big armor, gun arm, we can't really do this, can we? Which I think is a missed opportunity. I think all these designs are sick as hell. So they moved back, and they kind of just started focusing on what she would look like. She looks like this. They said, okay, this is cool. Here's her like Void form with a mask. Here they're kind of getting more focus on the Void mask into the human, and they're playing with that a lot. They're really going, yeah, it says right there, going for human bonded symbiotically with the Void virus to make an armored suit that expands her already capable abilities, right? So they're playing with that idea more of, it's not a suit of armor, it's two different forms that she has, essentially. She has her human appearance, and then she has her symbiotic Void appearance. Design 3 keeps the more Samus look, and Design 1 goes for more into the human look with just Void is there. I think Design 2 fits what Kai'Sa did turn out to be. the most, which maybe that's why I like it. It's the most familiar, right? So they eventually walk away from the armored design entirely and go for more of a skin-tight bodysuit. They keep the shoulders and they change it to more like bulbous pods, kind of like wings of an insect, right? Kind of like Kazakh's. We can see here she has, instead of having the gun arm, she has two little palm, like Iron Man, like repulsor blasters or whatever that shoots the void energy out. And I think that's interesting and gives her cool poses. I think all of the pose work here is interesting, but you know, it's a lightly armored. The legs have some like armored design around it, which is strange. The arms have armor. It's just the torso and the figure is very exaggerated here. It's very skin tight, and that's when people kind of start thinking, huh, what's this design supposed to be again? Although I do think it's still an okay design, right? It's not that bad. I mean, League of Legends is something like Ashe. Like, come on now. Ashe is not that good. Miss Fortune is unapologetically horny. Ahri is very unapologetically horny. You know, what can you do, right? That's just the League of Legends. It's boring? Yeah, absolutely. Were the other designs a bit more interesting? Absolutely. I agree. But, you know, we'll just keep moving forward here. Kai'Sa, they settle on that, right? Because that's going to sell really well. That's going to be very appealing to more people, as opposed to like the Samus look or the Monster Girl look, which is a bit disappointing, sure. But is this a bad design? Not really. It's just kind of average, right? That's really all I can. This is very like League of Legends. Like, yeah, that's how they would make a Void ADC girl, of course. I do think it looks a bit better with the like full mask on right here on this side. The Void armor is cool. I like the design. I like how it looks. Now, this design is very hated because of what it could have been. This feels like a robbery. This feels like a very average, uninspired design for what we previously had in the concept art, and that I agree with. From a marketing standpoint, they're gonna think the consumers are gonna be more for hot girl in skin tight suit than this big heavy armor, this very cool, sick, fucking really cool design to stuff, and they decided to make it a hot girl, which is disappointing. Riot Still tried to add some good characterization later in the design. I believe this was the art for the character story. Here we can see Kai'Sa looking over Shurima. We get a back shot of her, and you know, that's very gratuitous, if you want to say that. But here we get a little more flair on her design. I think this design looks much better because it incorporates this gold trim. This gold trim reflects her Shuriman side, because that's where she's from. She's from Shurima. She's currently looking over Shurima, if you're curious at what it looked like, or what a very small part of it looked like. This reflects her more human side along with her actual genuine human side, right? This gold trim gives her a lot of characterization. It's seen in characters like Azir, Nasus, and Sivir. They all have this gold about them. That's a very Shuriman color. It's this gold, it's usually this green kind of jade, and I think this gold trim on her armor both looks really good and adds a lot of detail to her character. And if this was the design we actually got, this would have looked amazing. It's half Void, half Shuriman. You got the armored look, it's got armored plates, it's still got that kind of skin tight middle. Like, this would have been more accepted. It's still got those crystal void blasters, which I think is really cool. That's when she uses her E, her supercharge. She still has the palm blasters, but when she powers up, she uses these crystal guns, and I think that's really cool. I think they could have played with that more. Like, you know how she has like the sniper rifle kind of arm cannon? It would have been really cool if she could, like, when she used more abilities, she would combine the two crystal blasters into one big rifle for like the skill shot for the Void Seekers, instead of the shoulder pads that she has that she uses for the Void Seeker, which is her long range skill shot. I think that would have been cool, but they didn't do that. Kind of a missed opportunity, but you know, whatever. Anyway, the point is, this design was really good. We didn't get this one. I don't know why. Why am I defending this design? Right? This isn't the one we got. We got this one. Why do I like this design? I like it for a reason that a lot of people seem to just ignore. Kai'Sa is from the Void. She's human who has adapted to live this life in the Void, and she has made it her goal to make sure no one else has to live the life that she has. She uses her powers that she got from the Void, which is her suit, and she uses it to kill other Void creatures instead of being like a vengeful wrath spirit or something, right? She uses it to kill the evil monsters who want more people to end up like her. So she kind of has this anti-hero vibe because she's not really doing it to be like a gracious, benevolent hero. She's doing it for what she believes in. She doesn't really care about being a symbol of hope, but that's kind of what people would see if they understood her. And the thing is, nobody understands her. When they see Kai'Sa, and we see this in the, I believe it's the Warrior cinematic, when we see Kai'Sa, it's in this way that nobody, they don't understand her. What is she? And that's the idea. I think that's really interesting. So, Ezreal's in a tomb, he's stealing a tear of the goddess, he's, you know, doing his whole archaeology thing, and he's stealing, right? He's stealing artifacts. That's Ezreal. And then a bunch of Voidlings show up to kill him for some reason. And then he's trying to run away. And then Kai'Sa shows up. Kai'Sa starts killing the Void creatures, and Ezreal looks confused. He looks like, what is that? What is that creature? Is that an enemy? Is that a feral creature just attacking everything in sight? Or is it helping me? I don't know. And then when Kai'Sa turns, and then the Void mask fades away, you can see her human side. And that's when Ezreal's like, oh, cool. I guess she's a friend. I guess she's an ally. And I think that right there was put in there for a very specific reason, to help people understand what they were going for with this Kai'Sa design. I think they had to do. I don't think this is the one that Riot wanted to do, but I think they shifted their goal to being more like this. On the exterior, she looks like a Void creature. She looks scary, she looks fucked up, she looks creepy, she looks evil. And then once that mask goes off, she's a very, like, pretty girl that anybody can look at her and be like, oh cool, pretty girl, right? The idea is the big contrast. And I feel like that's maybe why they got rid of the gold to trim, was because they don't want anything on the Void design to reflect her human side except for her, like, physique, which she would have to have unless it was a really big form change. She turned it into like something different, and that would have been a lot of work for them to do. And they just didn't want that because they didn't want the character to play like that. But they didn't want anything to reflect that human form on the Void design. So when she minimizes the Void design and shows her face, that's when you see that she's a person. That's kind of the idea. The idea is for Kai'Sa to always be misunderstood by people. She's supposed to be mysterious, and nobody really knows if she's going to kill them or not until she drops that mask and reveals that she is a human, just like the people she's protecting. That's really cool, and nobody fucking talks about it. Not a single person I've heard, at least, has ever talked about that when talking about Kai'Sa. Everybody just wants to shit on the Kai'Sa design, like, oh, why is she a fucking supermodel? It's like, well, to sell, but also, but also to have this big contrast in her design to be more interesting. Kai'Sa could have been a whole lot less interesting if she didn't have this part. In game, you can choose to have the mask on at all times, or off, right? They wanted that to be a big part of Kai'Sa's design, was her Void and her human. And I think that's always been the goal. And they did the goal of their design just fine then. Though, you know, they came with a few bumps on the road. They didn't know if they wanted a cool, like, heavily armored Samus looking character, and then they didn't know if they wanted like an evil, corrupted, kind of more sinister looking person to go with the Void, because this looks not a big contrast there. It looks like a Void corrupted person, and then they look like they have the Void corrupted armor. That makes sense. And then they decided, well, how about instead of it being like that, it's just a 50-50 split. Let's not blur that line. Let's make it a bolded line between Void and human. And they went to do that. They removed the corruption from Kai'Sa. They removed the glowing purple eyes and just gave her normal purple eyes, right? They don't look corrupted. They just look like her eyes are purple, which is not really out of place for League of Legends, I suppose. They gave her these markings on her face. It kind of looks like the marks are left behind from where the void mask attaches. That's kind of the idea that I get from it. It's that when she has the void thing on, that's kind of where it like clamps onto, right? And then when it goes away, those markings are left behind on her face. Thankfully, those markings are aesthetically pleasing, right? At least they're not fucked up. So, you know, Kai'Sa's got that for her. I personally think this is a good design, right? I think the Kai'Sa we got is adequate. I think it's serviceable. I think it's a perfect mid-tier design for League of Legends. We put them all on a tier list, which I'm not going to do. Don't ask me to do that. If we made a tier list of every single character design, Kai'Sa would be the perfect mid-tier. But there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being the mid-tier. Mid-tier is very important for deciding who's bad and who's good. And I think Kai'Sa fits there very well. She has a lot of things going for her, and she has a lot of things going against her. Do the pros outweigh the cons? For me, yeah, but I'm really biased on this, because I co-main Kai'Sa with Jhin, okay? I'll say it. I'm a little biased. Plus, I just really like the aesthetic of the purples and the pinks, and those are my favorite colors. The purple and pink, that's my thing. I really like the symbiote trope as well. Kai'Sa has a lot of things that speak to me. The crystal blasters that she has are also just really speak to me. I think that's really cool. Like if you ask me what my favorite Halo weapon is, I'd say the Needler. Aesthetically speaking, at least, I think the Needler is very cool, and that, you know, kind of looks very similar. Like, yes, this has a lot of things that directly speak to me and activate some brain paths, some neuron paths in me. So, yeah, I'm a little biased on that, but, you know, that just made me want to think about it more and explore the design more. And a lot of people didn't do that, but a lot of people just dislike the design. So, yeah, I personally like the design, but, you know, a lot of people don't. And I don't hear people talking about anything good about her design, like literally ever. So I just wanted to talk about what makes her not a terrible design. I don't even think she's a bad design, alright? I just think she could have been better, and she could have been worse. She's the perfect mid-tier, alright? Let's put that in there. Alright, that's all I got. I've talked about it. I don't know, this video is really long, by the way. I'm just gonna tell you right now, the unedited version of this video right now is clocking at 53 minutes long. Gonna have to cut a lot out. I am so sorry, future me. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye.